Welcome back, Wanderers of the Infinite Void. I finally finished failing my finals, so I can answer the question, which of these
Anime villains had the biggest impact on their series?
and we're going to look at it as in impact they had on the story of the series. So first out is Boo. Yes, Boo arguably impacted the most characters by blowing up the planet / galaxy, but his impact on the story is negligible. He's just another Dragon Ball villain who shows up, is more powerful than anyone we've seen before, and is the reason Goku becomes more powerful. That's basically it. You could replace him with any other villain, and it would be basically the same with slight story differences. After that, I would get rid of Madara, and yes, Madara is a good villain, but he doesn't really have much relevance to the story outside of being mentioned as one of the shinobi gods until the Fourth Great Ninja War, where he rocks up, is incredibly badass, but then gets cucked out of this series because the editors said we needed to be able to set up a sequel manga, so they introduced fucking aliens. God, I hate the Otsutsuki. After that, I would get rid of Doflamingo. I think he does have more of an impact in the overall story of One Piece in our time frame than Madara does, but if you wrote him out, we would just lose several arcs and several interactions, and the world would be slightly different. There'd be a different Seventh Warlord of the Sea, we wouldn't have Dressrosa, we arguably wouldn't have Punk Hazard, and we arguably would still have the Warlord system, because Doflamingo taking over Dressrosa is a big part of what got the Warlord system disbanded. But even if we didn't have them, Luffy would still be trying to become King of the Pirates, he would still have to go to Wano to fight one of the four Emperors, Kaido, and yeah, the story would be different, we'd have lost some great arcs, but that's about it. Now we get to characters who definitely are needed for the story to continue as it was. And third place I am giving to Sukuna, because, yeah, the whole story starts out, basically, with Yuji eating his finger and getting some of his power, and, yeah, the story would be completely different. But we could still have a Jujutsu Kaisen story without Sukuna. It would just be a completely different story. It would be Geto as the final villain, he tries to find a way to defeat Gojo, and then we have to have Yuji just become a regular sorcerer who didn't eat Sukuna's finger, try to stop him. So yeah, completely different story, but could still be a Jujutsu Kaisen story. Whereas the last two characters, that's much less for them. So I would give second place to Dio, because yeah, without Dio's intergenerational hate, we wouldn't have JoJo's Part 1, because yeah, it's just him shows up, rejects his humanity, and fucks up JoJo's life. Part 3 is just him coming back but withstands. Part 5 is just his son, and then Part 6 is just his priest. But we would still have Part 2 because that's about the stone masks, and we only really get connected to them because Dio used a stone mask and because it's Jojo's grandson. And then Part 4, once again, is only really connected to Jojo's bizarre adventure because Joseph had an illegitimate child who lives in Moria, but the rest of it isn't really affected by Dio. Whereas if you got rid of Muzan, Michael Jackson, Kibichu, there would be no demons in Demon Slayer. It would just be Slayer. Kanjuro's family would have never been killed. Nezuko would have never been turned into a demon. It would just be Slayer. Completely different series, and that's why he gets first place in this list. Now, if you disagree with me, you are objectively wrong, but please tell me why you're wrong in the comments.